startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, again, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about in language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing on a Thursday? Another Startup Founder Best Practices. And I'm excited to be here to share some more insights tonight. That's what our program is actually called Founders Insight Program. So we like to leverage the AI to give founders insight and on what they're doing so they can have clarity and also so they can know what to do next. So let me share my screen here. So we're going to go over some prompts and you can actually call them, in some cases, engines, which may not make sense to some of you all, but prompts can have agents in them and stuff like that. But you know, being a founder, you have to have evidence to keep growing your business. If you just keep, like this thing says, collecting compliments about you being a founder, collecting compliments about your idea, that's not going to cut it in the ecosystem. You need to come into the ecosystem, like Quinn was saying on the video. You have to understand the ecosystem in order to take advantage of it, and that statement says a lot. And the number one way you communicate with the ecosystem is simply through what you have on your business model, the lean canvas. And so that lean canvas, those things in those 9 blocks, they're used throughout the ecosystem. So when you're doing a pitch application, and like right now, the federal government has a $1 million pitch competition that you have to have your application in by June 10th. And so when you fill out the application, you have to communicate your business model in order to be considered. And so everybody from the federal governments to foundations to nonprofit organizations to chambers of commerce to accelerator programs, pre-accelerator program, incubator programs, they're recruiting founders into their programs. And some of them are having pitch competitions, some of them are having training, but they give you money for participating in the training. But the key to getting in is communications. And the communication is communicating your business model. And it's not communicating your product or service, it's communicating the problem you're solving and how you make money solving that problem. So it's not just about, like the slide says, you know, you need real evidence. The compliments are not going to do you any good. And so I remember one of the first products I was creating when I retired from the federal government. I was getting compliments galore, but when it came time to launch, those compliments didn't mean anything. So, I sank a lot of money in that particular startup. It was like quite quite a while ago, 2012, 2013, we launched. But I blew $200,000 based on compliments. You don't want to do that. That's asinine. You want to learn by communicating with other founders and learning these best practices for moving forward. And that's what we're going to show you a couple tools tonight to help you do that. And I just want to give a big shout out to some of our partners and sponsors. I'm still actively recruiting more partners and sponsors to support what we're doing. Some of these are past, some of these are current sponsors, are partners, but they really have stepped up to help the program grow so we can serve more founders. And so matter of fact, it was May 2020 when we came up with the idea of doing this Startup Founder Best Practices event. And we literally got it kicked off August 13th, 2020. And we've only missed one event assistant, and that was that September of 2020 when we had the storm here in Pensacola that knocked everything out for a couple of weeks. But we're here, we're still here, and we're still trying to share information, and that's all because of the support through our partners and sponsors. So big shout out to them. We appreciate their support. Yeah, and they stepped up for a founders innovation summit and tour that we did along with Black Innovation Leaders of Florida. And so we're excited about the support, and we're excited about all the things we've learned. And we've literally compiled all the things we learned over the past 6 years, and leveraging AI so you can kind of understand that through and move forward with your thing. So appreciate you being here. If you got any questions, feel free to chime in. No matter what I'm talking about each week, I'm open to questions about anything related to being a founder, anything that can help you move forward and getting clarity. I was on networking just before this, and the founders was basically sharing that she got a lot of clarity and from participating in our office hours and learning from the mentoring and coaching and stuff, and so she's in a better place right now. And I had another founder message me last night. Yesterday he had a preliminary pitch competition, and he wanted me to kind of take a look at what he was doing, and we reviewed it a little bit, and he made it through that first round and going to be competing in the finals. So it's just we're here to help, and so help you move forward. But you got to do this thing based on evidence. So we practiced the lean stack methodology, and which has shifted to encapsulated in the Lean Spark that Ash Murray is doing right now. But the playbooks in this program are encapsulated in Lean Spark and still in Lean Stack. But it's simply the playbooks are simply design a scalable business model and learn how to pitch it clearly and concisely. And then once you get that down, then you can use that pitch to get into programs that give you money, that give you help, that give you mentorship, that give you free stuff to keep moving your idea forward. And at this stage, you don't even have to have a company form at this stage. And then the next playbook is demand validation, and that's the make or break playbook for your startup, because you go from guessing if people will buy your product or service, and to knowing that people will buy because you have evidence, and that's what we these prompts I'll share with you today will help you understand how to get the evidence you need to keep moving forward. And I'm definitely excited about this. Yeah, if you only knew, how powerful some of these tools are in making decisions and helping you get clarity and helping you move forward, and it's just really amazing. But there are a lot of pitfalls out there, but these programs help you bring clarity. So like the Startup Science program, we can get you access to that, and you literally have the startup ecosystem in a box. It's got clarity on all the things you want to know about. It's got links to grants and funding opportunities. It's got sample documents. So you just can't go wrong with the tools that we have to support you. I can hop on this for stuff forever, but I just want to make sure you understand the resources that we have that can help you get clarity. But what we're learning is you have to be in a good place. You have to have your basic needs and stuff taken care of. But once you've got a level playing field where you're mentally ready to focus on your startup idea, and you still would be working or whatever, and so then the next step is if you to learn the system. And so that's what we're here for, to help you learn the system, because I can tell you flat out, if you don't understand the system, you can't succeed in the system. And so I met founders over the past year. They think they have a good idea, excellent idea, but they don't understand the system. But they don't understand that you have to have evidence. Just because you say it's a good idea, that's not going to cut it in the ecosystem. Everything is based on the traction and evidence that you have. And ecosystem is willing to work with you where you are, but you got to take time to understand the ecosystem, know the system. If you don't know the system, you can't use it. And you may be out there playing in a system that doesn't, there's this communication gap. And like I said, was it last week or the week before, we had attended the Money Fest thing over in Mobile, and it had information for nonprofits. It had information for traditional business seeking money, for business loans. It had for startups seeking investment or programs going the startup route. And the biggest takeaway was the people who were in business, had businesses, it was this communication gap between all these ecosystem people, from investors to banks to SBA, all this stuff. There was this communication gap because the people in the room didn't understand the system, how these systems work. And so my mode of operation, if I'm somewhere, if I'm participating in something, I want to know how the system works. When I work for the government, I wanted to know how the money worked, because without money, you couldn't get no programs. You couldn't do nothing. So the first thing I did was I learned how the flow of money. And that's, so that's the same way it is in the startup world. You have to learn how the system works, how money comes into the system and gets distributed to you for whatever your idea is. So I'll talk to my blue in the face but that's just the bottom line. You can't just come have an idea and think you're going to get money, going to get help if you don't understand how the system works. Take time to understand the system. That's why we do Startup Founders Best Practices,
so you can get some idea how the system works. Simply, the system, just about everything in the ecosystem has an application. When you fill out that application, you're pitching your business. If you don't know how to pitch your business model, the application falls on deaf ear. That's the way the system works. That's the key that unlocks the door to the system. That's the key that unlocks the door to the system. You can do all you want, but until you learn how to fill out that application and communicate your business idea, the system doesn't know you. And I guess I'm getting a little serious here, but that's the way it works. Hey, man, glad to have you here. And so the one comment I want to make about this system, like I said, the system will work where you are, but you have to reach out to get help. You know, this is just the way the system is. Now, yeah. So if you got friends and connection that you can bypass the system, that's great. But the average person doesn't have that. So I just want to make sure that you understand that. So does anybody have any questions about the system and actually how the system actually works? Because that's the most important thing that we need to get straight with all this stuff that we're doing. Is we want to help you, understand the system. And so a couple of things here. I'll stop this particular thing, and I just want to show you what I'm going to share tonight, that will help you with some of this stuff. So when we had our innovation summit last month, I promised everybody that we will give them a prompt package, and there's tons of prompts and there's tons of things, but these prompts are designed. They're all about you and your business. So there are several prompts that we're going to talk about, but but the bottom line is, you use the way you can use AI as a thinking partner, and not as like a vending machine. So I'm going to share this particular prompt guide with you, and it's got 22 pages, but it's got I think maybe 6 prompts in it. But and it tells you how to use them, and these prompts will change the way you use AI, and with yourself and with your business. So basically, the only thing I'm going to require for you to get this package. And I'll go over a couple of the prompts in detail, but just to be aware of our Founders Insight program and just make sure you have applied, and then that's what's key. This is a prompt package that I will share with you that will literally change the way you use AI. So I'm happy to do it. It's literally based on a lot of years of work, and it's based on my understanding of how to use AI. And I've been working in the field of AI since the mid to late 90s. So and so once you understand what AI is and how it's similar to your brain, and how these large language models can actually work for you. And just experience I had this morning with one of my interns, I was showing him, and I told you all about this before. I like doing research on history and Black history and history of different things, not just Black history, but you want to make sure that the history is accurate. So I had experience with my wife, and so that led me to letting ChatGPT know that I understood that it could actually act like a researcher, and because the research field and researchers, librarian, all that stuff is actually commonly known. These large language models know the process of doing research and in great detail. So I just literally sat down to the computer and vented my frustration and just ask it to develop me a specification for a prompt that can actually do research. And to my amazement, it created a prompt that had 7 AI agents in it. So, and I think you wouldn't necessarily call that a prompt. That's why you could say you could potentially call it an engine. And so, but anyway, that prompt has generated so much income. It's literally amazing. And so that's the power of knowing how to actually use AI. And I used that prompt and learned about working with people from like 19 different countries all over the world, working with people in 8 different African countries. And so it's literally a powerful thing, but I just leverage AI, to actually create it. And most of these prompts you see here, they were just based on my knowledge of the framework of the Lean Stack framework, the process you take a business idea through in order to validate the demand for your idea. It's literally simple. I didn't have to write any of these prompts. The AI created them based on what I explained to it, what I needed, and they have been invaluable to founders, in moving forward with their business ideas. So I just want to make sure you understand that. So start asking questions, so we can make sure you're good to go on this. So I this is just a notebook that I've created, and don't pay attention to the title, but there is a playbook for doing, and I do have prompts for, like this one says SBR Strategic Readiness Playbook. So that was the first thing I put in this notebook, but there's several things in here. And so you'll see over here, and that's basically came from this stuff here, but you can see I have several different sources over here, and they could be transcripts. And here's I guess the business model design prompt. I'll show you that tonight. But I created based on the prompt package that I'm going to share with you. I created I had it use the sources that I gave it, and this all came from office hours thing I did, I think back at the beginning of the month. I had office hours, and I went over all the prompts, and this is just a kind of summary of that to help you out. So let's go with this first one. I think I didn't share my sound, so I need to undo this and share my sound so we can make sure that you can hear what I'm doing here. So just take what I'm saying seriously, because it will help you if you just follow the steps and kind of move along here. So this first one is what our topic is tonight. So let me go ahead and click on it and blow it up so you can actually see it. I didn't have my guy edit it today, but it's and this is the short version, so that'll be good since we kind of short on time here. So here we go. If I can get it to play here.
Most early-stage founders stall out because they treat AI like a generic search box. Instead of using it as a structured thinking partner to navigate the chaos of starting up, they throw random questions and hope for clarity. This leads directly to a common trap. A founder gets stuck, opens their AI tool, and asks for a massive, comprehensive business plan long before they even know what their immediate next step should be. We are going to bypass that trap entirely. Over the next 5 minutes, we will use a highly targeted prompt to extract your personalized founder next step brief, complete with a strict 7-day action plan. To follow along, you only need 3 things: an active LLM account, a rough business idea, and brutal honesty about your progress. By stripping away the pressure of a 50-page business model and clarifying your immediate, smallest next action, you break the cycle of founder paralysis and actually get back to work. Step 1 is selecting the right tool from your prompt toolbox. You have to match your specific problem to the correct AI framework, avoiding a one-size-fits-all approach. This flowchart filters out questions about demand validation or scaling. If you are stuck, the highlighted node at the bottom, the Founder Next Step prompt, is the exact tool you need. You must isolate and copy only this specific text. Warning tone: do not paste an entire 10-page prompt package into your LLM at once. Feeding the AI multiple frameworks simultaneously dilutes the output and confuses the model. Instead, take your isolated prompt and paste it into a clean text editor. Scroll down to locate the 3 custom input brackets waiting for your information. Isolating a specific prompt like this prevents the AI from hallucinating a generic startup strategy, forcing the system to focus entirely on immediate actionable triage. Now we look at those 3 custom input variables. First, your business idea, what you have already tried, and what you need right now. The golden rule of prompt customization applies here. Delete the polished marketing speak. Replace it with raw, unvarnished honesty. This layout compares our inputs. On the left, vague generic responses yield generic advice. On the right, we see the power of highly specific, vulnerable founder realities, like openly admitting you currently have 0 paying customers. Once your variables are filled in, highlight the entire customized text block, paste it into your LLM's chat window, and press enter. Because of the strict formatting rules in the prompt, the output is not a conversational paragraph. You will receive a structured 13-point numbered brief. Scan the document and locate the 3 highest priority sections: your current founder stage, the riskiest assumption you are making, and your specific 7-day action plan. The strategic value of this output is strictly determined by the accuracy of your initial inputs. When you are honest about where you are, the AI can give you a precise map of where to step next. But leaving that map inside the AI chat interface is a mistake. Chat histories inevitably fail, get buried under new queries, or lose their context over time. To fix this, we use the good copy protocol. This mandates that you move any valuable strategic outputs out of the chat window immediately. Go ahead and copy that entire 13-point brief to your clipboard. Paste it into a permanent workspace, like a Notion page or a Google Doc, and label it clearly with today's date. Establishing a durable system of record separates a temporary brainstorming session from a permanent, evolving founder operating system. Now that your brief is saved, look at what you have accomplished. You have successfully eliminated the guesswork, and you possess a clear map of your exact founder stage. But hear this warning clearly. This AI strategy is merely organized assumptions. It is absolutely not proof of market demand. Your job now is to close the laptop and spend the next 7 days executing your action plan in the physical world to gather actual evidence. Once you secure real people to interview and test those assumptions against, you will return to your toolbox and deploy the Customer Discovery Questions prompt. Artificial intelligence is an excellent tool to organize a founder's thoughts, but only your direct, real-world execution will actually build the company.
Yes, that was the short version. So let's see here. I think I'll any questions on that? Anyone? I think what I'll do is see if this one actually gives a little bit more. That one only covered the next step brief, which is exactly what it says. So what I've learned is that founders, they literally, they don't want to know about the whole ecosystem. You know, they want to know what to do next, and so that was the generation of this particular prompt. which what I created. So you get that prompt in the prompt package and with the user guide on how to use it. But I think that video did a decent job on that. And so so if anybody got any questions on that, so the situation for that one is simply, no matter where you are in your founder journey, you can use that prompt. If you give it the inputs, it's smart enough to tell you what the next thing you should do. And so you don't end up being confused. And then you go out and actually collect the evidence from moving forward with that. So let's take a look at this particular one. And then I'll show you the presentation that has all the prompts in it.
Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we are going to completely flip the script on how you use artificial intelligence. If you're a founder, an innovator, or just someone building something from scratch, it is time to upgrade your toolkit. We're taking AI from being just a basic search box and turning it into your most valuable, personalized, strategic thinking part.
Let's be brutally honest for a second. Are you just tossing random questions into that little chat window, crossing your fingers for a magic answer? Or are you actually using it for disciplined learning? See, most founders don't fail because they lack ideas. They fail because they simply don't know what question they need to ask next.
Because man, the biggest trap early stage founders fall into, and it's so easy to do, is AI-assisted guessing. That's when you ask the AI to spit out a massive marketing plan for a product absolutely no one wants. And worse, you accept that output as actual proof. But today, we're giving you the tools to shift entirely away from guessing and into AI-assisted disciplined learning. It's all about using structured workflows, pinpointing your very next action, and always validating with real people. So here's our roadmap to get you there. The AI search box trap, the prompt selection ladder, finding your next step, validating with real evidence, and finally, your custom thinking engine. Boom! We're taking a massive 27-step methodology and breaking it down into bite-sized pieces so you get exactly what you need without the cognitive overload. All right, section 1, the AI search box trap, or escaping the magic 8-ball. Let's tackle the absolute most common mistake founders make right out of the gate. Here's the deal. AI is absolutely not here to replace your founder judgment. There's no cheat code to skip the hard work of actually building a business, but it is the ultimate tool to sharpen that judgment. You use it to pressure test your riskiest assumptions and figure out your next right step based on hard evidence, not just, blind enthusiasm. Moving right into section 2, the prompt selection ladder, your founder toolbox. Think of your AI prompts like physical tools in a toolbox. You wouldn't grab a hammer to fix a leaky pipe, right? This ladder is basically a mental map to help you pick the exact right tool for your current reality. If you're completely lost, you pull out the compass. Need to talk to customers? Grab the interview guide. Got a bunch of messy notes? Time for the truth detector. It's all about matching the tool to the specific problem sitting right in front of you. Which brings us to section 3, finding your next step, otherwise known as the compass. This is for when you're staring at a blank screen and just need direction. No 50-page business plans allowed. The self-service founder prompt spits out a brief that honestly preserves your dignity. It clarifies your likely customer, zeroes in on your riskiest assumption, and hands you a 7-day action plan. But the best part? It doesn't shame you for what you haven't figured out yet. It just says, okay, here's the evidence you need to go collect next. And the absolute beauty of this compass is how it yanks you right out of the idea phase. It puts you in a structured 3-step execution flow. You nail down your core assumption, you generate non-leading, open-ended interview questions, and then you get out of the building. You literally stop spinning your wheels chatting with a bot and you start talking to real human beings. And speaking of talking to humans, let's hit section 4, validating with real evidence. Enter the truth detector. I need you to burn this exact phrase into your brain. Ready? Do not confuse compliments with commitments. This is literally the golden rule of demand validation. If someone tells you your idea is cool, or that they might use it someday, that's a compliment. Interest is not demand. And a polite compliment is absolutely not a commitment to buy. So when you take your raw, messy interview notes and feed them into the evidence analyst prompt, it turns into this ruthless truth detector. It brutally separates mere busy work, like collecting those polite little compliments or mistaking AI research for actual proof, from real, bankable evidence. It hunts for exact customer language, it flags true urgency, and it specifically looks for actual commitments and a genuine willingness to pay. It'll even quantify all this by slapping a 1 to 5 evidence score on your notes. If you get a 1, well, you're still coasting on assumptions. But a 5 means you finally struck gold with actual behavioral proof. You have commitments. This score exists to keep you completely honest with yourself. Okay, once you actually have that validated evidence, it's time to level up. Section 5, your custom thinking engine, the blueprint and the engine. This is where we pull out the big guns, the blueprint. The business model design prompt is a heavy-duty 27-step workflow built on the lean stack methodology. It takes all those validated insights you just gathered and aggressively pushes them through lean canvas variants, maps out customer forces, and turns all that problem discovery into a crystal clear, actionable marketing strategy. But here is the absolute ultimate leverage. You can actually create your very own thinking engine. Using a personalization framework called Lenicha, the system analyzes your past chat history. Think about that for a second. Instead of just reading your content, it decodes your natural workflow and your unique cognitive style and translates all of that into a reusable master prompt. Basically, it builds an AI that thinks exactly the way you do. It goes so deep. It extracts your behavioral patterns to figure out if you're a builder or a thinker. It maps out your natural workflow loops. It even detects your friction points, like where exactly do you tend to overthink and lose momentum. Then, it amplifies your best thinking habits to generate a master prompt completely unique to you. It's essentially your personal operating system. Now, what if you're brand new to this and don't have a giant prompt history yet? No sweat at all. There's a no history variant. You just feed it your stated mission, your vision, your active projects, and your constraints. From that, it builds a tailored starter operating system based entirely on what you're trying to achieve right now. So yeah, you can start building your engine literally today. We have covered a massive shift today in this explainer, moving from blind guessing to totally disciplined learning. We've laid out the compass, the truth detector, the blueprint, and your own custom engine. So with this entire system mapped out right in front of you, the only provocative question left to ask yourself is this: which specific tool are you going to pull from the box tonight? Don't try to use them all, just pick one, get to work, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
Right. Any questions on that? So, which one of those prompts, the Lenicha prompt for me, it's like it's almost sounds a little scary there, but I'm gonna hop out of that. And as you can see, this particular video here, and this one here is just based on 2 sources. And so basically what I did was I took the document that I showed you that had all the prompts in there, this one, and so it's got the prompts in here. And I just fed that to the notebook, and then I analyzed this thing with my personal Lenicha personalized prompt, and then use those 2 sources to generate these things here, explaining what was in that. Now, this audio, I'm not going to do anything with that, but it's what I like about this is simply this interaction button. You can literally talk to it and about the prompts and et cetera. So bottom line, when you get the document, you can literally dump it in a Notebook LM, and then you can ask it, create this audio. You can ask it all the questions you want about those prompts, when to use them, because it's actually got the user's guide for each one of them in there. So that's the power. And I'll share that link with you in a minute. But my only request is that make sure you're signed up for our Founders Insight program, so we can help you and keep track of your progress. And so that is simply apply.thekua-institute.org. And so let's take a look at this PDF that's based on those same two documents here, and so I can't stress enough that if you're out there working on a business, making money, whatever, you are not making money, you need to be working in frameworks, not just loosely, out there. And so, and that's what we like about the Lean Stack framework. And I can literally tell you that you can use that with established businesses, and it will help you figure out how to grow that business. You can use it with just a business idea, and it will help you understand your business idea and your business model, so you can move forward. So it works, and it doesn't care if you got a nonprofit. It doesn't care if you got a software company. It doesn't care if what your business idea is. It literally doesn't care. It will help you flesh it out and try to understand it. And so so that's what we're talking about tonight. Just stop guessing and start collecting that evidence. And so and so basically founders don't fail because of lack of ideas. They fail from not knowing what questions to ask, because literally, and I can tell you honestly, the founders that interact with me the most, they move the fastest. If you're not interacting with your coach or whoever, you're not going to move as fast. I can just show you, because there's a lot of, the system is wide and huge and everything, but the coaches understand the ecosystem and how to leverage it, and help. But the good news is, once you create your Lanika prompt, you can get all the advice you want from these mentors, and so one common thing that happens in the ecosystem, different mentors tell you different thing and about the same thing. And so the good news is, with that Lanika prompt, it aligns what they're saying with the way your brain is thinking. So you can actually synthesize what they're saying and find the stuff in there that relates to what your mission or goal is. And so that's the beauty of leveraging the AI from the evidence standpoint. These are kind of all the mistakes founders make, and so you have to really know what questions to ask depending on the stage your business is in. And so just asking for the wrong thing at the wrong time, and to me, what I hate is all the people out there, using AI, but not understanding that the AI is going to make you feel good and try to tell you what you want to hear. You need a systematic approach for moving forward. And these are the different prompt things that can actually help you move forward. And so what I'll do, because this is the 27 step one is the one, no matter if your idea or got exists with. So I'll show that video next, and then I'll end up with the Lanika method. But this mirror one is a good one too. So just make sure you do it. And so so that's what the whole idea of all of this. And so basically you want to get to the point where you got this AI native, you become an AI native operator. And so the compass, the truth detector, the 27 step business model down. This is basically a business model simulation. When I worked for the government, before we went out and flight tested any weapon concept or did any robotics or you name it, we actually built it in a simulation first to see how it would respond. That's what this framework is. It'll literally it's like a simulation of your whole business thing. But the bottom line is what you're going to find is when you go out there and do those actual demand validation interviews, you're going to find that they're going to match pretty good with the simulation. That's what we've been experiencing. So you can go from an idea to a marketing plan. And to me, I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to use that prompt. And so that's what the deal is there. So all of these prompts, for the most part, have the core unique meta rules in them. And so this is the thing that that stops the AI from lying to you and just finds all the patterns and all the stuff you use to analyze with. And literally what I'm telling you, that this unique prompt that I use, it literally, I use it from as many as 100 times a week, analyzing graphics. I analyze papers. I analyze YouTube videos. I analyze articles. I analyze meeting transcripts, financial reports, you name it, business plans, you name it. It's pretty amazing. And so I used, so one thing in life is, you have to see yourself in order to know whether you're growing or improving or not. So AI can help you see yourself and reflect yourself back to you. So that's a really neat, using AI as a mirror. Yeah. And so these are some of the prompt discipline. So just make sure you take a look at some of this stuff. And so let me get the next video up here real quick. And so we'll do this particular one. And so so this is just the way you think about this prompt. So most people just jump into an idea without, just going, but just listen to this and use this prompt to kind of stress test your idea. So let me see if I can get that. If this is rolling here. Just trying to, get this going here.
Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just get right into it. Today we're tackling the absolute ultimate struggle that pretty much every founder and creator runs into. How do you actually take a raw, untested idea that's just floating around in your head and turn it into a validated, market-ready business? Usually this whole process is incredibly messy, right? It's chaotic. We're relying on gut feelings, scattered notes on our phones, and honestly, just a lot of blind hope. But what if building a business didn't have to be this stressful guessing game? What if it operated like a highly tuned machine instead? It's literally the million-dollar question. How do you guarantee your business idea will actually work before you drain your bank account and spend years of your life building it? Well, the brutal truth is you can't guarantee anything in a vacuum. But here's the good news. You can systematically engineer the risk right out of your idea. You can force it through a gauntlet of validation that is so rigorous, by the time you finally launch, you already know exactly who is buying and exactly why they're buying.
And that brings us to the sheer scale of the unified playbook we're unpacking today. 27. We aren't just doing some light brainstorming here. We're following a strict, uncompromising 27-step blueprint. This framework draws on the Lean Stack playbooks and extends them into a massive, comprehensive business building engine. It leaves absolutely no room for guesswork. Okay, let's dive into the agenda. Stage 1, business design. Stage 2, demand validation. And stage 3, marketing strategy. We're going to treat this explainer kind of like a tour through a giant assembly line, breaking this massive workflow down into 3 distinct factory floors. But wait, before we step onto that first factory floor, we've got to understand the ground rules of our facility. This entire process runs on a set of core rules, known as Laniche's verbose discovery principles. Basically, you train for extreme detail, no surface-level quick summaries allowed here. You think iteratively, and you present every single output as a structured artifact. But the absolute magic of this system, the real secret sauce, is context continuity. That just means the output of step 1 feeds directly into step 2, which feeds directly into step 3. Nothing is ever lost in translation.
Every single piece of data is preserved and repurposed. All right, let's step on to the first factory floor. Stage 1, business design. This is where your raw industry observations and those early hunches are forged into structured, logical business models. We're taking the raw clay and throwing it on the wheel. And notice, we absolutely do not start with your brilliant solution. Instead, we map out the industry. You list out every single stakeholder. Then you map their deepest frustrations, the emotional impact of those frustrations, and finally, the hard business impact. Because look, if you don't understand the emotional and financial pain of your market down to this granular level, your solution just isn't going to matter. Once we've got that raw pain data, it gets forced through the next crucial steps. We synthesize those insights into a single master lean canvas. But we don't stop there. Actually, we create up to 5 different segment variants. Why? Because a CEO buys completely differently than a middle manager does. Finally, we craft targeted why now elevator pitches. And these pitches are structured entirely around customer triggers. You know, that highly specific moment when they realize their current solution is totally broken and they need to switch right now. Which brings us to a huge coaching question from the source material. What friction could prevent adoption? Look closely at your variants and your pitches. You might have the greatest product in the world, but if switching to it is just too hard or requires way too much learning or costs too much upfront, people simply won't adopt it. You have to stress test your operational feasibility right here, right now, before going any further. Now, if your idea actually survives the design floor, we move to the second floor of our assembly line. Stage 2, demand validation. This is where we take those polished design variants and we throw them out into the real world to see how real human behavior reacts. To validate demand, we need the right raw materials, and that means defining the jobs to be done, or JTBD. Now, this isn't just about what a product functionally does. It's about the emotional and social motivations driving a customer to literally hire your product to improve their life. Accompanying these jobs are the customer forces. You've got the push of their current bad situation, the pull of your shiny new solution, the inertia of their current habits, and the friction of making a change. And this brilliantly illustrates how we organize those forces using the Kano model. It's a framework that identifies exactly what features will get your product hired or fired by the market. Firing criteria are your absolute must-haves. If you don't have these, you're fired immediately, no questions asked. Hiring criteria are where you actually compete on performance. And trade-offs or delighters, those are the unexpected little features that make customers completely fall in love with you. So all of this validation work builds up to the ultimate deliverable of this stage, the Mafia offer. To get to this point, you run your idea through the 5P matrix: problem, people, promise, price, and packaging. Once that's all mapped out, you synthesize the strongest features you found, you add aggressive risk reversal, like a no questions asked money back guarantee, and you eliminate as much friction as humanly possible. The result is a proposition so incredibly compelling that your target customer literally cannot refuse it. But hey, a Mafia offer is just a nice theory until it hits the market. So ask yourself right now, who would you interview first to validate this assumption? You absolutely must test this offer through broad match interviews with a wider audience and narrow match interviews with your highly specific ideal buyer. You set your minimum success criteria up front, and if the market doesn't bite, well, you go right back to the drawing board. Assuming your Mafia offer does get validated, we transition to the final floor, the climax of the framework. Stage 3, marketing strategy. This is where the magic of context continuity really shines, because all that validated research we just poured our sweat into, it automatically generates our marketing execution. This right here is the aha moment of the whole framework. We are literally using stage 2 customer forces to write stage 3 ads. Those jobs to be done you discovered earlier aren't just, dusty background research. They organically become the high converting copy you need right now. You don't have to hire an expensive copywriter to guess what to say because your customers already told you. Check out how this translation works. We take a dominant force, like the push of a current frustrating problem. We identify the specific buyer emotion attached to it. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's just pure exhaustion. Then we assign it to a funnel stage, decide on the marketing action, and immediately draft an example message. The emotion is literally dictating the marketing tactic at every single point of the journey. Let's see how this builds out across the 5 steps of the funnel framework: awareness, interest, consideration, decision, and retention. For every single stage, we are perfectly matching the exact buyer psychology we validated earlier with the appropriate content type and call to action. To really prove how seamless this is, think about this translation. Imagine a raw push force we uncovered in stage 2 demand validation, something like, tired of wasting hours? Well, watch how it is literally just repurposed to become a highly effective ad headline in stage 3. Stop wasting hours. Get your time back. It's a direct, undeniable, evidence-based translation.
And this systematic mapping scales across all your segments. By directly linking a core job to be done and a key force to your value proposition, your ad headline, and your landing page promise, you're creating segment-specific messaging that is entirely evidence-based. This isn't just a marketer's best guess during a Friday afternoon brainstorming meeting. It is the mathematical output of your validation process.
Because of this incredibly robust translation process, the framework practically spits out a complete, ready-to-use marketing copy library for you. I mean, you get short and long-form ad copy, fully fleshed-out landing pages, multi-step email sequences for awareness and conversion, and even social media posts. And every single asset is pre-labeled by its funnel stage and linked directly back to a validated customer force.
But look, we don't just launch and pray. The final step of the 27-step engine is a rigorous A/B testing plan. You define your test name, the exact variable you're isolating, your hypothesis, the channel, your key performance indicator, and your specific success criteria. This ensures we are actively measuring and refining all these newly generated marketing assets with real hard data out in the wild.
As you build out these tests, the framework poses one final, absolutely crucial coaching question. Which emotion should your ad amplify or calm down? Because remember, all data-driven marketing ultimately comes back to managing human emotions. Are you trying to amplify the pain of their current push force to grab their attention? Or are you trying to calm down the friction and the anxiety they feel about making a purchase decision?
When you step back and look at the assembly line as a whole, it really is a thing of beauty. You've taken a unified, continuous journey. You started with raw problem discovery, shaped it through business model design, stress-tested it in demand validation, and finally, translated it seamlessly into marketing strategy execution. It's just a perfect flow from a fragile little idea to a scalable, data-driven campaign. So, now that you've seen the machinery humming under the hood, I've got one last question for you. What is the very first idea you're going to run through this 27-step gauntlet? Seriously, don't let your next great idea just sit gathering dust in a notebook. Put it on the assembly line, trust the process, and go build something incredible. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time. Welcome to the explainer. So let's just get right into it. Today we're tackling the absolute...
I hope that you see the power of that particular prompt, and I just want to make a couple of comments on that. So number one, when I look back at my career working for the federal government and the Air Force Research Lab, we did a lot of projects, multi-million-dollar projects, and all those projects, they had never been done before, and we didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So we followed this R&D methodology to just make sure we did the process, followed the process, the established process, and we would get it. As long as we did that, we know we would get a decent outcome. And then what you just saw was a similar thing where it's the entrepreneur method. You going from the lean startup methodology, you're going from a framework that follows the process. So if you don't do step 1, 2, and 3, and you're out there trying to market your product, you guessing whether it's gonna work or not. And that's what the purpose of the Lean Stack framework is, to get you to follow a proven methodology for building a scalable business, or just a business in general. These same principles for the scalable business, they work for traditional any business. So it's just, you just have to realize. And the second thing I would say is that you have to run this prompt in the deep research mode. And I typically test these in ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and LeChat. And then I dump all of those over into Notebook LM, but I also use the nature prompt to actually analyze those reports that are generated. And these are really detailed reports, but you remember, you need to run them in a deep research mode, and you literally will be shocked at the results. And then you can dump those things over in the Notebook LM, let it reflect it back to you. So that's what I want to say about that. Since we're running close to time here, I'm going to go ahead and show this Lanika method prompt. And so this is the most powerful thing that you can use every day, several times a day, to analyze transcripts. You can use it to analyze prompts. So literally one of the things I do, if I got a long chat thread, I would say, please analyze this entire chat thread with my Lanika master prompt. And it literally understands it. And sometimes I run it more than one time, because what the results are from the prompt, it brings out insights. So when you run it again, it may even get more insight. So this is the most powerful thing that you can take from today. So I'll go ahead and get it started here. Let's see, can get it going.
All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want to immediately contrast how we typically use AI with, honestly, a total mind-bending paradigm shift. Usually, we use AI to analyze content, right? We toss it a PDF, a data set, maybe a random question, and it spits back an answer. Boom, done. But the Lanika method? It completely flips the script. Instead of analyzing the content, the AI is explicitly instructed to dissect you, the user. We're moving away from this basic transactional prompt and response loop and diving into a deep, highly personalized analysis of your very own mind. Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a behind-the-scenes tour of an intelligence architect at work. And look, this isn't just another list of prompt engineering hacks, not at all. This is about architecting your actual cognitive operating system. We're unpacking a source framework that fundamentally changes the relationship between human and machine. It's wild stuff. So what exactly are we looking at here? Let's define it. The Lanika method is a framework designed to take your raw prompting behavior and convert it into a fully personalized intelligence system. It's not about settling for those generic one-size-fits-all AI answers anymore. The core objective of this source material is to take your entire prompt history, literally every question you've asked, every single workflow you've tried, and transform it into a bespoke, custom-built thinking engine that operates exactly how you operate. To pull this off, we're going to follow a clear architectural blueprint. First, we'll meet the Lanika method itself. Second, we'll profile your cognitive style. Third, we look at friction and leverage detection. Fourth, we'll actually build your custom system. And finally, evolving your cognitive OS. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Meet the Lanika method, establishing the blueprint. Before we can start hammering nails and building your custom thinking engine, we absolutely have to lay down some foundational ground rules. These are the mandatory meta rules the AI has to follow when it looks at your history. First step, verbose discovery. The AI can't just slap a lazy label on you. It has to fully flesh out your behavioral patterns. Second, iterative thinking. It needs to constantly ask itself, okay, well, what does this imply? Third is context continuity. It's looking for patterns across time, not just weird, isolated prompts. Fourth, system translation. It has to convert these insights into actual actionable frameworks. And finally, personalization bias. Everything, and I mean everything it generates, must be adapted specifically to you. Once those rules are locked in, we hit step 1 of the framework, behavioral pattern extraction. The AI scans your dominant prompt types. Are you mostly writing code, designing systems, researching rabbit holes, or doing creative writing? It looks at how often you repeat certain tasks, your favorite output formats, the whole shebang. And it all culminates in this deep, introspective question the AI asks itself. What does this reveal about how the user naturally works? It's actively investigating your natural rhythms. Moving on to section 2, profiling your cognitive style, dissecting the mind. This is where the AI essentially becomes a mirror, using your past behavior to infer your exact unique thinking style. Let's gamify this a bit. The AI evaluates your data against a few core categories. First, what's your archetype? Are you a builder, a thinker, a researcher, an operator? Do you naturally gravitate towards systems, specific checklists, or massive abstract ideas? Then it looks at your preferences. Do you crave exhaustive, incredibly deep dives, or are you all about rapid speed? Is your natural balance tilted way over toward open-ended exploration, or are you strictly about get-it-done execution? This profile completely dictates the AI's investigative pacing. Once it maps out your style, the framework demands the AI answer a recurring question. What kind of intelligence model best describes this user? It is literally categorizing your cognitive style, so it knows exactly how to talk to you moving forward. Which brings us to step 3, workflow and output mapping. Think about your own natural workflow loops for a second. The AI is tasked with figuring out what are you actually trying to produce at the end of the day. Code, marketing copy, strategic frameworks? How do you actually structure your requests? Are you firing off quick, one-sentence commands, or are you feeding it highly detailed bulleted inputs? By identifying these input to output patterns, the AI starts mapping out your natural workflow loop. Section 3. Friction and leverage detection, diagnosing the engine. Okay, we've mapped the mind. Now we enter the diagnostics phase. This is where we figure out exactly where your momentum stalls out and what highly scalable strengths you already have in your toolkit. Let's contrast steps 4 and 5. First up, friction. The AI is hunting for repeated, unresolved problems in your prompt history. We're talking overthinking patterns or incomplete execution cycles where you just kind of stalled out. But then it flips and looks for leverage. These are your high-value patterns, your reusable thinking structures, your scalable behaviors. The AI isolates your weaknesses purely to protect you from them, and it isolates your strengths so it can multiply them. It's a real game changer. Which prompts 2 really critical diagnostic questions. Honestly, ask yourself this right now. Where do you lose momentum? Are you getting totally bogged down in endless research and failing to execute? And on the flip side, what should be amplified? What are you naturally amazing at that an AI could help you scale up tenfold? The lineage method forces the AI to answer these exact questions based purely on your cold, hard data. Section 4. Building your custom system, the assembly line. At this stage, we are officially shifting from analyzing your behavior to actually assembling your new engine. This is the moment the framework rewrites its own core principles to fit you. The AI literally rebuilds the core lineage structure into a custom framework built just for you. First, it rewrites its own principles. Like if you're a speed-focused operator, it adjusts itself to give you faster, punchier answers. Next, it modifies its analysis steps to match exactly how many layers deep you actually need to go before you hit diminishing returns. From there, it tailors every single output format to your specific workflow. And finally, it aligns its decision-making layers directly to your personal goals. The AI is asking, how should this system behave differently for this specific user? And that leads to step 8, the final output. After all this incredibly deep analysis, all the mapping, all the diagnosing, the finished product of this entire assembly line is a single, highly powerful, reusable prompt. This prompt embeds your perfectly personalized method, matches your distinct thinking style, and guarantees that every single future interaction produces outputs you can use immediately. We're talking zero friction. Section 5, evolving your cognitive OS, future-proofing. Because a true operating system, a really powerful intelligence engine, it isn't static. It has to evolve. Step 9 of the framework details the evolution strategy. The architect has to define how the system is going to grow. What signals should trigger an update to your model? How should it adapt as you take on a promotion or learn a brand new skill? What entirely new behaviors in your prompting would be a red flag signaling that your custom system needs a serious upgrade? This is the vital question the AI has to keep in the back of its mind. How does this system stay aligned as the user grows? It really underscores the dynamic, living nature of the personalized cognitive operating system we've just built. It is absolutely not a snapshot of who you are yesterday. It's a partner designed to learn and adapt with you tomorrow. And this brings us to the final absolute drop the mic instruction given to the AI in the source material. You are not describing the user, you are building their thinking engine, their analysis OS, their decision support system. I really want you to grasp the profound shift here. We are no longer using AI as some glorified encyclopedia or a basic text generator. We're using it as an architectural tool to build a custom extension of our own minds. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought derived directly from the source. The AI is instructed to continuously ask this, but I want to ask you this directly right now. If I were optimizing your thinking for output and leverage right now, what would I change? What frictions are quietly holding you back, and what strengths are just waiting to be scaled? I really hope this explainer has given you the blueprint to start auditing your own thinking engine. Until next time, stay curious and keep building.
was really, really neat. I hope you got the gist of that. I'm going to, this is what I'm going to go ahead and share with you so you can have it. And I'm going to, at the end of it here, I'm going to actually paste my, the office hours on Saturday from 1 to 3 Central Time, and this is the link for our founders applying for our Founders Insight program. It's just you basically registering with that. So here's the gift to you for hanging in there to the end here. Let's find this link to this prompt, and here it is. And I'm going to put it into the chat window. And so if you have any questions about the prompt, just or the package, just feel free to reach out just to keep you moving forward forward with it. Trying to get it to show on the screen here, but yeah. So I'll just show this one. But anyway, the prompt is in the chat, so use it. Next week, we have a neat guest for you. Stop sharing the screen here and get back going here. So we got a neat guest next week, Mike Ellicott, and the backstory on this, he was paying, I guess what you would call an office helper a lot of money each month to help him with his business and everything. And the lady wasn't using AI or anything to help him move his business forward. So he changed his mindset and decided to dig into AI himself. And he transformed his business and how he worked with his customers. And so we're going to bring him on next week to kind of show you how, what happened with his mind shift that made him start looking into how to use AI to literally transform his business. So looking forward to that, and I appreciate any founder that's willing to share their experience. If you want to come on and share your experience, just feel free to reach out and let me know. Thanks for bearing with me tonight. My best advice to you right now is those tools that I just shared with you. You need to grab that document and make a copy of it, download it, and start, actually what I recommend is taking that document and uploading it to Notebook LM and let it explain all that stuff to you, because I literally, you may not realize that those things are going to change your whole relationship with AI and help get your business actually moving forward. So don't miss out. Start making progress. My prompt, like I said, I use it so much I can't even keep a track how many times I use it, and it literally starts creating stuff for you. Mine automatically creates prompt. It automatically creates agents. It's because it knows that's what I normally do with stuff, and it create upgrade my product requirements documents from my software. I mean, literally, it knows what, and it knows how to modify stuff for the particular thing that I'm asking for. So don't hesitate to use the nature personalization thing, so you can get your own prompt. It's going to generate a report. Just go in there and copy that prompt out there. But you will learn so much about yourself by running that prompt, and that monster of the Lean Stack framework with the 27 steps. That is really. And Tony, you're right, because if you just only knew the benefit people were getting from those prompts, if you're not using them, you're literally in trouble. Thanks for the comment there, Tony. All right, we'll see you all next week. Looking forward to it. Enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. Definitely be safe over everything else, and just keep moving forward and reach out if you have any questions. We love to help founders move forward. You all take care. Enjoy chatting with you all. See you all next week.